The secret to relationships. The secret means that we are creators of our universe, and that every wish that we want to create will manifest in our lives. Therefore, our wishes, thoughts, and feelings are very important because they will manifest. One day I went into the home of an art director, a very famous film producer. In every corner, he had this beautiful image of a naked woman draped with a fabric, kind of turning away as if she were saying, "I don't see you." I said to him, "I think you might have trouble in your romance." And he said, "Are you clairvoyant?" "No, but look, in 7 places, you have exactly that same woman." He said, "But I love that kind of painting. I painted it myself." I said, "That's even worse because you put all your creation and creativity in it." He's a gorgeous-looking man with all these actresses around him because that's the work he does, and he doesn't have any romance. I asked him, "What do you want?" "I want to date 3 women a week." I said, "Okay, paint it. Paint yourself with 3 women and hang it in every corner of your living space." 6 months later, I saw him and asked, "How is your love life?" "Great. Women call me. They want to date me." "Because that's your wish," I said. He said, "I feel great. I mean, for years I did not have a date and now I have 3 dates a week. They're fighting over me." "Good for you," I said. Then he told me, "I really want to stabilize. I want marriage now. I want romance." I said, "Well, then paint it." He painted a beautiful romantic relationship, and a year later he got married, and he's very happy. This is because he put another wish out. He wished it in himself for years without it happening because his wish could not manifest. The outer level of himself, his house, was contradicting his wish all the time. So if you understand this knowledge, you just start playing with it. Marie Diamond's story of her client is a perfect demonstration of how feng shui reflects the teachings of the secret. It illustrates how our thoughts create powerfully when we put them into action. Any action we take must be preceded by a thought. Thoughts create the words we speak, the feelings we feel, and our actions. Actions are particularly powerful because they are thoughts that have caused us to act. We may not even realize what our innermost thoughts are, but we can see what we have been thinking by looking at the actions we have taken. In the story of the film producer, his innermost thoughts were reflected in his actions and surroundings. He had painted many women, all turning away from him. Can you see what his innermost thoughts were? Even though his words were saying he wanted to date more women, his innermost thoughts did not reflect that in his paintings. By deliberately choosing to change his actions, it caused him to focus his entire thought on what he wanted. With such a simple shift, he was able to paint his life and call it into existence through the law of attraction. When you want to attract something into your life, make sure your actions don't contradict your desires. One of the most wonderful examples of this is given by Mike Dooley, one of the teachers featured in The Secret, in his audio course, Leveraging the Universe and Engaging the Magic. It is a story of a woman who wanted to attract her perfect partner into her life. She had done all the right things. She got clear about what she wanted him to be like, made a detailed list of all of his qualities, and visualized him in her life. Despite doing all these things, there was no sign of him. Then one day, as she arrived home and was parking her car in the middle of her garage, she gasped as she realized that her actions were contradicting what she wanted. If her car was in the middle of the garage, there was no room for her perfect partner's car. Her actions were powerfully saying to the universe that she did not believe she was going to receive what she had asked for. So she immediately cleaned up her garage and parked her car to one side, leaving space for her perfect partner's car on the other side. She then went into her bedroom and opened her wardrobe, which was jammed full of clothes. There was no room for her perfect partner's clothes, so she moved some of her clothes to make space. She had also been sleeping in the middle of her bed, and so she began sleeping on her side, leaving space for her partner. This woman related her story to Mike Dooley over a dinner, and sitting next to her at the table was her perfect partner. After taking all of these powerful actions and acting as if she had already received her perfect partner, he arrived in her life and they are now happily married. Another simple example of acting as if is a story of my sister Glenda, who is the production manager of the film The Secret. She was living and working in Australia, and she wanted to move to the United States and work with me in our US office. Glenda knew The Secret very well, and so she was doing all the right things to bring forth what she wanted. But months were passing by, and she was still in Australia. Glinda looked at her actions and realized she was not acting as if she was receiving what she had asked for. So she began to take powerful actions. She organized everything in her life for her departure. She canceled memberships, gave away things she would not need, and she got her suitcases out and packed them. Within 4 weeks, Glinda was in the United States working out of our U.S. office. Think about what you have asked for and make sure that your actions are mirroring what you expect to receive, and that they're not contradicting what you've asked for. Act as if you are receiving it. Do exactly what you would do if you were receiving it today, and take actions in your life to reflect that powerful expectation. Make room to receive your desires, and as you do, you are sending out that powerful signal of expectation. Lisa Nichols says inside relationships, it's important to first understand who's coming into the relationship and not just your partner. You need to understand yourself first. James says, Ray, how can you ever expect anyone else to enjoy your company if you don't enjoy your own company? And so again, the law of attraction or the secret is about bringing that into your life. You've got to get really clear. Here's the question I would ask you to consider. Do you treat yourself the way you want other people to treat you? When you do not treat yourself the way you want others to treat you, you can never change the way things are. Your actions are your powerful thoughts. So if you do not treat yourself with love and respect, you are emitting a signal that is saying you are not important enough, worthy enough, or deserving. That signal will continue to be broadcast, and you will experience more situations of people not treating you well. The people are just the effect. Your thoughts are the cause. You must begin to treat yourself with love and respect, and emit that signal and get on that frequency. Then the law of attraction will move the entire universe, and your life will be full of people who love and respect you. Many people have sacrificed themselves for others, thinking when they sacrifice themselves they are being a good person. Wrong. To sacrifice yourself can only come from thoughts of absolute lack, because it is saying, there is not enough for everyone. So I will go without. Those feelings do not feel good and will eventually lead to resentment. There is abundance for everybody, and it is each person's responsibility to summon their own desires. You cannot summon for another person because you cannot think and feel for another. Your job is you. When you make feeling good a priority, that magnificent frequency will radiate and touch everyone close to you. Dr. John Gray says you become the solution for you. Don't point to another person and say, now you owe me, and you need to give me more. Instead, give more to yourself. Take time off to give to yourself, and in a sense to fill yourself up to fullness, to where now you can overflow in giving. To acquire love, fill yourself up with it until you become a magnet. Many of us were taught to put ourselves last, and as a consequence we attracted feelings of being unworthy and undeserving. As those feelings lodged within us, we continued to attract more life situations that had us feel more unworthy and not enough. You must change that thinking. Undoubtedly to some, the idea of giving so much love to self will seem very cold, hard, and unmerciful. Still, this matter may be seen in a different light when we find that looking out for number one, as directed by the infinite, is really looking out for number two and is indeed the only way to permanently benefit number two. Unless you fill yourself up first, you have nothing to give anybody. Therefore, it is imperative that you tend to you first. Attend to your joy first. People are responsible for their own joy. When you tend to your joy and do what makes you feel good, you are a joy to be around, and you are a shining example to every child and every person in your life. When you are feeling joy, you don't even have to think about giving. It is a natural overflow. Lisa Nichols says, I got into many relationships expecting my partner to show me my beauty because I didn't see my own beauty. When I was growing up, my heroes or my sheroes were the Bionic Woman, Wonder Woman, and Charlie's Angels. And while they're wonderful, they didn't look like me. It wasn't until I fell in love with Lisa. I fell in love with my mocha skin, my full lips, my round hips, my curly black hair. It wasn't until that happened that the rest of the world was able to fall in love with me as well. The reason you have to love you is because it is impossible to feel good if you don't love you. When you feel bad about yourself, you are blocking all the love and all the good that the universe has for you. When you feel bad about yourself, it feels as though you are sucking the life out of you, because all of your good, on every single subject, including health, wealth, and love, is on the frequency of joy and feeling good. The feeling of having unlimited energy and that amazing feeling of health and wellness are all on the frequency of feeling good. When you don't feel good about you, you are on a frequency that is attracting more people, situations, and circumstances that will continue to make you feel bad about you. You must change your focus and begin to think about all the things that are wonderful about you. Look for the positives in you. As you focus on those things, the law of attraction will show you more great things about you. You attract what you think about. All you have to do is begin with one prolonged thought of something good about you, and the law of attraction will respond by giving you more like thoughts. Look for the good things about you. Seek and ye shall find. B.O.B. Proctor says there's something so magnificent about you. I have been studying me for 44 years. I want to kiss myself sometimes. Because you're going to get to love yourself. I'm not talking about conceit, I'm talking about a healthy respect for yourself, and as you love yourself, you'll automatically love others. Marcy Shimoff in relationships were so used to complaining about other people. For instance, my coworkers are so lazy. My husband makes me so mad. My children are so difficult. It's always focusing on the other person. But for relationships to really work, we need to focus on what we appreciate about the other person, not what we're complaining about. When we're complaining about those things, we're only getting more of those things. Even if you're having a really hard time in relationship, things aren't working, you're not getting along, someone's in your face, you still can turn that relationship around. Take a piece of paper, and for the next 30 days sit down and write all the things that you appreciate about that person. Think about all the reasons that you love them. You appreciate their sense of humor. You appreciate how supportive they are. And what you'll find is that when you focus on appreciating and acknowledging their strengths, that's what you'll get more of, and the problems will fade away. Lisa Nichols says oftentimes you give others the opportunity to create your happiness, and many times they fail to create it the way you want it. Why? Because only one person can be in charge of your joy, of your bliss, and that's you. So even your parent, your child, your spouse, they do not have the control to create your happiness. They simply have the opportunity to share in your happiness. Your joy lies within you. All your joy is on the frequency of love, the highest and the most powerful frequency of all. You can't hold love in your hand. You can only feel it in your heart. It is a state of being. You can see evidence of love being expressed through people, but love is a feeling, and you are the only one that can radiate and emit that feeling of love. Your ability to generate feelings of love is unlimited, and when you love, you are in complete and utter harmony with the universe. Love everything you can. Love everyone you can. Focus only on things you love, feel love, and you will experience that love and joy coming back to you, multiplied. The law of attraction must send you back more things to love. As you radiate love, it will appear as though the entire universe is doing everything for you, moving every joyful thing to you, and moving every good person to you. In truth, it is. Secret summaries. 1. When you want to attract a relationship, make sure your thoughts, words, actions, and surroundings don't contradict your desires. 2. Your job is you. Unless you fill yourself up first, you have nothing to give anybody. 3. Treat yourself with love and respect, and you will attract people who show you love and respect. 4. When you feel bad about yourself, you block the love, and instead you attract more people and situations that will continue to make you feel bad about you. 5. Focus on the qualities you love about yourself, and the law of attraction will show you more great things about you. 6. To make a relationship work, focus on what you appreciate about the other person, and not your complaints. Chapter 7. The Secret to Health. B.O.B. Proctor says disease cannot live in a body that's in a healthy emotional state. Your body is casting off millions of cells every second, and it's also creating millions of new cells at the same time. Our body is really the product of our thoughts. We're beginning to understand in medical science the degree to which the nature of thoughts and emotions actually determines the physical substance and structure and function of our bodies. Dr. John DeMartini says we've known in the healing arts of a placebo effect. A placebo is something that supposedly has no impact and no effect on the body, like a sugar pill. You tell the patient that this is just as effective, and what happens is the placebo sometimes has the same effect, if not greater effect, than the medication that is supposed to be designed for that effect. They have found out that the human mind is the biggest factor in the healing arts, sometimes more so than the medication. As you are becoming aware of the magnitude of the secret, you will begin to see more clearly the underlying truth of certain occurrences in humankind, including in the area of health. The placebo effect is a powerful phenomenon. When patients think and truly believe the tablet is a cure, they will receive what they believe, and they will be cured. Dr. John DeMartini says if somebody is in a situation where they're sick and they have an alternative to try to explore what is in their mind creating it versus using medicine, if it's an acute situation that could really bring death to them, then obviously the medicine is a wise thing to do, while they explore what the mind is about. So you don't want to negate medicine. Every form of healing has a place. Healing through the mind can work harmoniously with medicine. If pain is involved, then medicine can help to eliminate that pain, which then allows the person to be able to focus with great force on health. Thinking perfect health is something anybody can do privately within themselves, no matter what is happening around them. Lisa Nichols says the universe is a masterpiece of abundance. When you open yourself to feel the abundance of the universe, you'll experience the wonder, joy, bliss, and all the great things that the universe has for you. Good health, good wealth, good nature. But when you shut yourself off with negative thoughts, you'll feel the discomfort, you'll feel the aches, you'll feel the pain, and you'll feel as if every day is painful to get through. We've got 1,000 different diagnoses and diseases out there. They're just the weak link. They're all the result of one thing: stress. If you put enough stress on the chain and you put enough stress on the system, then one of the links breaks. All stress begins with one negative thought. One thought that went unchecked, and then more thoughts came and more, until stress manifested. The effect is stress, but the cause was negative thinking, and it all began with one little negative thought. No matter what you might have manifested, you can change it with one small positive thought and then another. Dr. John DeMartini says our physiology creates disease to give us feedback, to let us know we have an imbalanced perspective, or we're not being loving and grateful. So the body's signs and symptoms are not something terrible. Dr. DeMartini is telling us that love and gratitude will dissolve all negativity in our lives, no matter what form it has taken. Love and gratitude can part seas, move mountains, and create miracles. And love and gratitude can dissolve any disease. The question frequently asked is, when a person has manifested a disease in the body temple or some kind of discomfort in their life, can it be turned around through the power of right thinking? And the answer is absolutely yes. Laughter is the best medicine. Kathy Goodman, a personal story: I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I truly believed in my heart, with my strong faith, that I was already healed. Each day I would say, "Thank you for my healing." On and on and on I went, "Thank you for my healing." I believed in my heart I was healed. I saw myself as if cancer was never in my body. One of the things I did to heal myself was to watch very funny movies. That's all we would do, was just laugh, laugh, and laugh. We couldn't afford to put any stress in my life, because we knew stress was one of the worst things you can do while you're trying to heal yourself. From the time I was diagnosed to the time I was healed was approximately 3 months, and that's without any radiation or chemotherapy. This beautiful and inspiring story from Kathy Goodman demonstrates 3 magnificent powers in operation: the power of gratitude to heal, the power of faith to receive, and the power of laughter and joy to dissolve disease in our bodies. Kathy was inspired to include laughter as part of her healing after hearing about the story of Norman Cousins. Norman had been diagnosed with an incurable disease. The doctors told him he had just a few months to live. Norman decided to heal himself. For 3 months, all he did was watch funny movies and laugh, laugh, laugh. The disease left his body in those 3 months, and the doctors proclaimed his recovery a miracle. As he laughed, Norman released all negativity, and he released the disease. Laughter really is the best medicine. Dr. Ben Johnson, we all come with a built-in basic program. It's called self-healing. You get a wound, it grows back together. You get a bacterial infection, the immune system comes and takes care of those bacteria and heals it up. The immune system is made to heal itself. Bob Proctor says disease cannot live in a body that's in a healthy emotional state. Your body is casting off millions of cells every second, and it's also creating millions of new cells at the same time. Dr. John Hagelin, in fact, Parts of our body are literally replaced every day. Other parts take a few months, other parts a couple of years. But within a few years, we each have a brand new physical body. If our entire bodies are replaced within a few years, as science has proven, then how can it be that degeneration or illness remains in our bodies for years? It can only be held there by thought, by observation of the illness, and by the attention given to the illness. Think thoughts of perfection. Illness cannot exist in a body that has harmonious thoughts. No, there is only perfection, and as you observe perfection, you must summon that to you. Imperfect thoughts are the cause of all humanity's ills, including disease, poverty, and unhappiness. When we think negative thoughts, we are cutting ourselves off from our rightful heritage. Declare and intend, I think perfect thoughts. I see only perfection. I am perfection. I banished every bit of stiffness and lack of agility right out of my body. I focused on seeing my body as flexible and as perfect as a child's, and every stiff and aching joint vanished. I literally did this overnight. You can see that beliefs about aging are all in our minds. Science explains that we have a brand new body in a very short time. Aging is limited thinking, so release those thoughts from your consciousness and know that your body is only months old, no matter how many birthdays you have chalked up in your mind. For your next birthday, do yourself a favor and celebrate it as your first birthday. Don't cover your cake with 60 candles, unless you want to summon aging to you. Unfortunately, Western society has become fixated on age, and in reality there is no such thing. You can think your way to the perfect state of health, the perfect body, the perfect weight, and eternal youth. You can bring it into being through your consistent thinking of perfection. Bob Proctor says if you have a disease and you're focusing on it and you're talking to people about it, you're going to create more diseased cells. See yourself living in a perfectly healthy body. Let the doctor look after the disease. One of the things that people often do when they have an illness is talk about it all the time. That's because they're thinking about it all the time, so they're just verbalizing their thoughts. If you are feeling a little unwell, don't talk about it, unless you want more of it. Know that your thought was responsible and repeat as often as you can. I feel wonderful. I feel so good. And really feel it. If you are not feeling great and somebody asks you how you are feeling, just be grateful that that person has reminded you to think thoughts of feeling well. Speak only the words of what you want. You cannot catch anything unless you think you can, and think you can is inviting it to you with your thought. You are also inviting illness if you are listening to people talking about their illness. As you listen, you are giving all of your thought and focus to illness, and when you give all of your thought to something, you are asking for it. And you are certainly not helping them. You are adding energy to their illness. If you really want to help that person, change the conversation to good things, if you can, or be on your way. As you walk away, give your powerful thoughts and feelings to seeing that person well, and then let it go. Lisa Nichols says, let's say you have two people, both stricken with something, but one chooses to focus on joy. One chooses to live in possibility and hopefulness, focusing on all the reasons why she should be joyful and grateful. Then you have the second person. Same diagnosis, but the second chooses to focus on the disease, the pain, and the woe is me. When people are completely focused on what's wrong and their symptoms, they will perpetuate it. The healing will not occur until they shift their attention from being sick to being well, because that's the law of attraction. Let us remember, so far as we can, that every unpleasant thought is a bad thing literally put in the body. Happier thoughts lead to essentially a happier biochemistry, a happier, healthier body. Negative thoughts and stress have been shown to seriously degrade the body and the functioning of the brain, because it's our thoughts and emotions that are continuously reassembling, reorganizing, recreating our body. No matter what you have manifested in regards to your body, you can change it, inside and out. Start thinking happy thoughts and start being happy. Happiness is a feeling state of being. You have your finger on the feeling happy button. Press it now and keep your finger pressed down on it firmly, no matter what is happening around you. Remove physiological stress from the body, and the body does what it was designed to do. It heals itself. You don't have to fight to get rid of a disease. Just the simple process of letting go of negative thoughts will allow your natural state of health to emerge within you, and your body will heal itself. I've seen kidneys regenerated. I've seen cancer dissolved. I've seen eyesight improve and come back. I had been wearing reading glasses for about 3 years before I discovered the secret. One night, as I was tracing the knowledge of the secret back through the centuries, I found myself reaching for my glasses to see what I was reading, and I stopped in my tracks. The realization of what I had done struck me like a lightning bolt. I had listened to society's message that eyesight diminishes with age. I had watched people stretch their arms out so that they could read something. I had given my thought to eyesight diminishing with age, and I had brought it to me. I hadn't done it deliberately, but I had done it. I knew that what I had brought into being with thoughts I could change, so I immediately imagined myself seeing as clearly as when I was 21 years old. I saw myself in dark restaurants, on planes, and at my computer, reading clearly and effortlessly, and I said over and over, I can see clearly. I can see clearly. I felt the feelings of gratitude and excitement for having clear vision. In 3 days, my eyesight had been restored, and I now do not own reading glasses. I can see clearly. When I told Dr. Ben Johnson, one of the teachers from The Secret, about what I had done, he said to me, "Do you realize what had to happen to your eyes for you to do that in 3 days?" I replied, "No, and thank goodness I didn't know." So that thought was not in my head. I just knew I could do it, and that I could do it fast. Sometimes less information is better. Dr. Johnson eliminated an incurable disease from his own body, so the restoration of my eyesight seemed like nothing to me, compared with his own miracle story. In fact, I expected my eyesight to come back overnight, so 3 days was no miracle in my mind. Remember, time and size do not exist in the universe. It is as easy to heal a pimple as a disease. The process is identical. The difference is in our minds. So if you have attracted some affliction to you, reduce it in your mind to the size of a pimple, let go of all negative thoughts, and then focus on the perfection of health. I believe and know that nothing is incurable. At some point in time, every so-called incurable disease has been cured. In my mind, and in the world I create, incurable does not exist. There is plenty of room for you in this world. So come join me and all who are here. It is the world where miracles are everyday occurrences. It is a world overflowing with total abundance, where all good things exist now, within you. Sounds like heaven, doesn't it? It is. You can change your life, and you can heal yourself. My story begins on March 10, 1981. This day really changed my whole life. It was a day I'll never forget. I crashed an airplane. I ended up in the hospital completely paralyzed. My spinal cord was crushed. I broke the first and second cervical vertebrae. My swallowing reflex was destroyed. I couldn't eat or drink. My diaphragm was destroyed. I couldn't breathe. All I could do was blink my eyes. The doctors, of course, said I'd be a vegetable the rest of my life. All I'd be able to do is blink my eyes. That's the picture they saw of me, but it didn't matter what they thought. The main thing was what I thought. I pictured myself being a normal person again, walking out of that hospital. The only thing I had to work with in the hospital was my mind. And once you have your mind, you can put things back together again. I was hooked to a respirator, and they said I'd never breathe on my own again because my diaphragm was destroyed. But a little voice kept saying to me, breathe deeply, breathe deeply. And finally I was weaned from it. They were at a loss for an explanation. I could not afford to allow anything to come into my mind that would distract me from my goal or from my vision. I had set a goal to walk out of the hospital on Christmas. And I did. I walked out of the hospital on my own 2 feet. They said it couldn't be done. That's a day I will never forget for people who are sitting out there right now and are hurting. If I wanted to sum up my life and sum up for people what they can do in life, I would sum it up in 6 words: man becomes what he thinks about. Morris Goodman is known as the Miracle Man. His story was chosen for The Secret because it demonstrates the unfathomable power and unlimited potential of the human mind. Morris knew the power within him to bring about what he chose to think about. Everything is possible. Morris Goodman's story has inspired thousands of people to think, imagine, and feel their way back to health. He turned the greatest challenge of his life into the greatest gift. Since the film The Secret was released, we have been inundated with miracle stories of all types of diseases dissolving from people's bodies after they watch The Secret. All things are possible when you believe. On the subject of health, I would like to leave you with these illuminating words from Dr. Ben Johnson. We are now entering the era of energy medicine. Everything in the universe has a frequency, and all you have to do is change a frequency or create an opposite frequency. That's how easy it is to change anything in the world, whether that's disease or emotional issues or whatever that is. This is huge. This is the biggest thing that we have ever come across.